Good evening, everybody, and welcome. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the South Haven City Council for Monday, December the 2nd, 2019. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The invocation this evening will be given by the Reverend Ron Van Lent of the First United Methodist Church. And Ron, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Let us pray. Passionate God, we are ever grateful for your love for us, for your patience and trust. This day we are thankful for the joys of community. We see signs of community everywhere, from handshakes and hugs to Santa and ice skating in the park, to people in the streets. We pray for our community, that you continue to be with us in our happiness and weariness, in our celebrations and our struggles. Merciful God, we pray for our world that faces too much violence. We long for freedom from violence in our places of gathering, whether it be where we shop or learn or pray or make decisions for our community. May leaders at every level learn to speak in favor of humanity and justice. We pray that all people can walk the path of peace, the path of forgiveness, the path of equality. Embracing God, we pray for those who suffer in our community and throughout the world. We remember friends and all those who face daily persecution and discrimination because of the color of their skin, the religion that they practice, or the person that they love. Enfold them in your loving arms. Teach us the power of love and forgiveness, that our words may be ones of healing. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. If you'll now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Travis.
Chris Campbell. Clark Gruber.
Here.
Joe Reeser.
Here.
Steve Schlock. George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
Scott Smith.
Here.
I'll make a motion to excuse Campbell and Schlock.
Second. Motion and a second to excuse council members Campbell and Schlock. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. They are excused. Thank you. Next, we have a fun part of the meeting tonight. We actually have 3 different presentations. We'll start, we have a business, kind of a spotlight session, and these are fun. We have Mr. Tom Feeney and company to talk about Harbor Light Brewery right downtown. So, come on up.
I'm the and company.
I didn't want to steal your thunder there, you know.
Co-owner.
Co-owner,
Still
yeah.
and company. Bring the beer.
It's right across the street.
That's right. It's close by, right?
Tom Feeney, owner Harbor Light Brewery, 516 Phoenix Street.
Bill Simes, co-owner Harbor Light Brewery. Same address.
There you go. We'd just like to share, hey, thank you very much for inviting us and having us here and recognize us. It's a great honor to be here. This has been a long journey for us. I originally came to the city in 2014 with this proposal to put in a brewery and a gathering space downtown. So we'll go through a little presentation real quick. If you would, Bill, this started 30 years ago. I met Bill playing rugby for Grand Rapids, and we traveled around, raised our family and so forth, and little did I know at that time, Bill was venturing into home brewing, and so, go ahead.
You can see I'm drinking beer there.
Yeah. He's starting already. And our family's had a boat here for 28 years, and I sit on the back of the boat, peering into this wonderful city, wondering, where's the brewery? Didn't find one, heard rumors, and then finally pitched the city. Bill?
Well, that's me on the left. As a home brewer, I was just started 30 years ago, probably right after I got married, and started with a little kit, like most people do. Got more and more into it. Started to be able to buy ingredients for beer, and at that time I figured I might as well start growing my own hops, and there I am harvesting some of my hops, and of course Tom comes over and cooks burgers for us all. But him and I, once we connected, we really started getting together on a lot of the homebrew days. And then we just started talking more and more about my impending retirement and what I'm gonna do after that. And so Tom decided
Let's pull the trigger and do this.
I could, so I told him, if you build a brewery, I'll brew for you. And then he went and built the damn brewery. So,
The name for our brewery was inspired by the book that's at the Maritime Museum by Janet Seavey and the Harbor Light. This inspired us because it was a navigational point that was decided, and commerce would come in. So when you would come from Chicago and you would come into South Haven, when you saw the Harbor Light, you'd turn in and have a beer. So this was the inspiration for our name.
and also the Harbor Light, the original Harbor Light you see there is our logo for our brewery.
Took us a while to get a building and settle in due to a number of space requirements and build-up and so forth. We want to thank Randy Locker for buying the McDonald's drugstore space and dividing that up. Our space is the old Quiznos. The original intent was to throw a coat of paint on it, take out the suspended ceiling and put a brewery in. And we were going to be in June of 2017, yeah, something like that. Well, anyhow, we gutted the place. And as you can see, it doesn't look anything like a Quiznos anymore. But it took a lot of effort. We did a lot of infrastructure rebuilding in the building and bringing it up to code and everything else. So we finally got our equipment in December and started brewing in January officially. This was really exciting for us. It's kind of unique how we brought the equipment in. It all fit through a 48-inch door. We have some custom equipment in there. And you can see Bill tapping the our first keg, or our first brew batch. Yep. All right, we have quite a bit. We have 24 taps. We have ciders available as well. Wine and ciders, you can see a variety there. I'm not asking you to like all of them, but I'm sure there's one in there that you might like.
Also, currently we have 2 homemade sodas that we make right on site there. So we're very family friendly, something for the kids to drink when you decide to come in, play cards, games, stuff like that.
We have music every Friday night, and we're also working with Foundry Hall to bring in more music to include jazz, Celtic music, Appalachian folk music. So that'll be coming on more and more as we go through next year. We're a very collaborative business. We work very, very closely with the restaurants. We don't serve food, but you can bring food in to our establishment. Bring in your own food if you want. That's quite all right. But we work with all the restaurants, so if they have takeout, you can bring it in. We also, with our spent grain, this is through the process that we brew beer. We have grain that's left over. A lot of the grain goes to a local farm near Paw Paw to feed their livestock, but we also take some of that grain. We dry it, mill it, and the Gourmet Pretzel Store makes pretzel chips for us. And Cookies on Call makes cookies for us. So these are barley cookies and barley pretzel chips. So we work with the community and collaborate to make these different things. We have our cheese dips are made at the Depot in their deli. And we use our nut brown ale in the cheese dips. We try to work in a very, very collaborative effort. Again, here's the music that we bring in every Friday nights. We've had some pretty interesting people in here. Delilah Wild was just in Friday night. She's a bundle of energy. Jim Cooper brings in some wonderful jazz. We even have In Harmony here. Thanks, guys. They come in and they help us play. So what we do is we invite you to come in, check us out. We have a lot of things. We are family friendly. We do have sodas. We have coffee, tea as well for those that are non-drinkers. So thank you very much and welcome.
This is good stuff. And you did all the, you made a lot of the bar and whatnot yourselves, right?
Bill and I built everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you see in there is. go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I was actually in a golf league with some workers from Rockford Construction. I had some mutual friends and talked to them. We were talking about building a bar, and he said, you know, we've got just finished the big project in Grand Rapids, the Market Street, the Bridge Street Market. And they had purchased several old barns from around West Michigan, Grand Rapids area, and he had a ton of old barnwood left over. I said, you know what, let me come down and take a look and see what we got. So our entire bar is made out of old barnwood, all the trim, old barnwood from multiple locations around West Michigan. A lot of the trim work, all of the tables I made myself out of the gutting of the second floor of the same building. That's where the old dentist office was, if anybody remembers. There was a dentist office up there. And there was a dance hall. They gutted all that, and all the old 2x4s, they were just throwing them out, and they had a half a dumpster full of them, and I went out there and saw, I thought they looked pretty cool. So I grabbed one and brought it in, and I said, Tom, I got a great idea. And if you've ever seen Tom and my ideas, you know, he's working on something and just goes, I said, no, it's a good idea. So he took off, anyway, he thought it was a great idea. So we pulled all the old 2x4s out, trimmed them up, glued, screwed them together, and that's all the tables and the back bars, all made out of old reused lumber from the second floor up there.
We still have about a gazillion thousand lath nails that we pulled out from all the wood too, if anybody's interested.
Yeah. But all of the wood, the little stage is repurposed. All of the little trim you see is from the second floor. So we really tried to keep, reuse a lot of the materials we could.
Very good. It's beautiful in there, so I encourage folks to go and check it out. So thanks for coming.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank
Great
you.
business. Good story. All right, on a related note, we have Miss DeBelsa Mata Garcia from the Cornerstone Alliance Women's Business Center. She's just going to come share with us. We're always working on ways to encourage economic development, whether it be redeveloping downtown buildings, you name it, and she will share with us one program that exists.
Yes. Hi, I'm DeBelsa Mata Garcia from the Women's Business Center at Cornerstone Alliance. We are located in Benton Harbor, Michigan. I'm just going to go over the services that we provide, and feel free to ask any questions. So part of my team is Stephanie Scott Sims. She's a Director of Entrepreneurship and Placemaking. My manager, Margaret Adams, and then I introduce myself. And so you see that logo at the bottom that we're powered by the Small Business Administration. So that means we're funded 50% from the Small Business Administration. A lot of the resources that we use are provided from them. And then the other half is provided from Cornerstone Alliance. So, and Cornerstone Alliance is investor-driven. So we've been around since 2004. Our main office is in Benton Harbor, Michigan. A lot of times, you know, you see that schedule 8 to 5. We hold untraditional hours, so sometimes we meet with individuals. Like today, I met with somebody at after 5 here in South Haven. We'll meet with people on Saturdays and Sundays. Whenever they're available, we make time for them. So SBA requires that we make time for those individuals who do have an 8 to 5 job. We have offices in Harbor Country, here at the city of South Haven. We want to thank the council for allowing us to use this space here every Monday. And then at First Source Bank in Dowagiac. So there's 3 of us serving Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties. We need help. So small business, a lot of individuals think that a small business is only those businesses that are mom and pop shops, but it's depending on the size of the company and the amount of money revenue that they're grossing on a yearly basis. So how can we help you start your small business? And so we see clients from every industry. We've also assisted some breweries, some wineries as well. So they have an amazing story, and it's so great when we get to assist those type of businesses with those amazing stories like Harbor Light Brewery. So we offer free one-on-one mentoring and counseling, and that consists of assisting people register their LLC, that's their limited liability designation with the state of Michigan. We also assist them with their federal employee identification number and also with the sales tax with the state of Michigan. And so with the client that I met with today at 5 o'clock, she spent over $300 on LegalZoom, getting all these services that we provide for free. And even though it's $300, that's startup money. So I'm sure every dollar counts when you're starting a business. And if we don't know the answers, we have several subject matter experts that can help. And like they mentioned, we help with state of Michigan referrals. We have contacts with Laura and getting the liquor licensing, all those type of licensings that maybe the food department, any type of industry, we have the referrals to assist those clients. How can we help plan your business? We assist with the business planning process, and the business plan just allows the client to hold themselves accountable to what they said they were going to do and what they're actually doing, and they could always refer back to their cash flow projections and see if they're meeting their goals and they're at where they should be. We also provide access to capital. So the big question is, how am I going to finance this dream business? And so if you're not where you need to be with your credit, we offer a mentor that can help with credit repair. We have bankers that can help assist you through the loan application process. We help you prepare your loan packet. I manage the SBA microloan program, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then we also connect you with area lenders. So the SBA microloans. So the SBA loans us dollars, and we reloan those dollars to individuals who are not at the stage where they're credible yet. So if you have a credit score as low as a 525, a microloan might be able to assist you start up your business. Loans anywhere from $500 up to $50,000. The microloans are specific to obtaining inventory, equipment, or added cash flow for your business. How can we help with business training? We have Power, Promoting Opportunities for Women Entrepreneur. And so even though I said we are the Women's Business Center at Cornerstone Alliance, we are men-friendly. We do help both men and women. It's just the funding stream, we have to serve a higher population of women. We offer QuickBooks training, search engine optimization, marketing, social media, and I'll touch on Blueprints for Success. And we also host Small Business Day. How can we help you grow your business? So sometimes we get clients that are already in business and now they want the next step. One of our clients from Calco Cleaning, she went to our annual Small Business Day. She met somebody from the Goldman Sachs program, and right now she's flying to Babson College for 4 weeks at Babson College, and they're offering her a growth plan, and it's paid for completely by Goldman Sachs. So we have Blueprints for Success, the Fundamentals of Marketing, and this is a class that we put together because a lot of our businesses don't have the right branding. And so this class, you sit next to a graphic designer, and I think it's for 5 hours, and you get to design your own logo with them sitting right next to you. And I know there's a lot of tools online, but you're not going to get that special touch with sitting next to your graphic designer for a very low cost. These are some of the classes that we have at our annual Small Business Day. For Small Business Day 2020, we're thinking May 6th, but we gather subject matter experts from all over Michigan to provide some of the classes that you wouldn't get for the price that we charge. We charge a very nominal fee to get all this training in one day. If you have a nonprofit, our partners from SCORE can assist you and can meet at our local offices as well. As far as getting your business certified with the government, or if you want to get into government contracting, we have partners from PTAC that can help you. We saw a small business with a revenue of $250,000 grow up into the $1 million stage just by getting into government contracting. So selling your product and services to the government. And to wrap it up, Some of these, all of these businesses are businesses that we've assisted, and it's all across the board with different industries. From wineries to breweries to cupcakes, stuffed pretzel. I'm sure some of you will recognize some of the logos up there. And now I want to open it up to questions, if there is any.
So Mondays you're here. If someone just has a question, they could, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm here every Monday, and I also left some literature outside the door, so feel free to pick up some information.
Okay. And obviously, if someone's interested, I mean, get a hold of city staff, we can connect you as well. So I mean,
Yes.
we're
Yes.
happy to do that.
Thank you so much for providing the space for us to
Yeah,
assist the area.
We are thrilled you are here, so that's good stuff. Nice to see that stuffed pretzel up there and the others, good stuff.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much for coming. We have the South Haven Community Foundation Board, the check presentation. You want to explain, Brian, or just kind of a quick?
Yeah, so members of council, we have several members of the South Haven Community Foundation Board present. South Haven Community Foundation has been working actively over the last many years to grow and to just gain greater independence for the Community Foundation. Tonight we have Mr. Andy Barnes, the president of the Community Foundation, who's going to talk about a check, both the fancy one and then the one in this envelope, that they'll be presenting to the city of South Haven. This is one of those good moments where the council, you'll be receiving money, not taking money, so enjoy.
Like it, very good. Anyone else want to come in?
Thanks for letting me be part of this too. I'm Andy Barnes, the president of the foundation. We're a nonprofit corporation, a 501c3. We have 15 dedicated board members. We fundraise all year long. We've actually reached a milestone this year. We surpassed $1 million of total funds in our endowments, and we should hopefully surpass $2 million this coming year too. So we're really moving along. Most of the board would agree that fundraising isn't always a fun process, but every year we give out grants. We analyze grant requests from nonprofits and municipalities, and so giving out grants, I think we would agree, is one of the more fun parts. So that's part of this tonight. We gave a grant earlier this year, and I'll let Alan Silverman, he's the chair of our grant committee. He can explain the grant we gave out this year.
Mr. Mayor, it's nice to be before the council, giving you guys something instead of asking for something. The Community Foundation is the largest benefactor of area nonprofits in all of Van Buren County. This year, we had the honor of dispersing over $30,000 in grants to area nonprofits, and in addition, we offered a matching grant for the benefit of the splash pad to raise funds for that splash pad. The Community Foundation pledged $25,000, provided that it was matched by citizen donors. And we will continue to offer that opportunity to citizen donors, and we'll match their contributions dollar for dollar up to $25,000 for a total of 5 years to make sure that $50,000 is raised towards the splash pad. If I can. This check represents just the first of our installments. In the short time that we have had in 2019 to raise matching funds, I'm pleased to present to you a check for $12,945, representing this year's contribution toward the splash pad. I hope that over the next following 4 years, we will make sure that we either match or exceed that $50,000 contribution.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
giving the little one to Brian. Can we take this down to Harbor Lights after the meeting? Let's go.
All right. Hey, that's a fun way to start a meeting. That's good stuff. Now we get to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. We now have the consent agenda, items A through G.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, this is a roll call.
Gruber,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes. That takes us to old business. City Council will be asked to consider the following actions related to a land division ordinance amendment. First, we need to host a public hearing on the proposed amendment. So I'll take a motion to open that up.
I'll make a motion to host a public hearing on the proposed land division ordinance amendment.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor to open it up, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's opened up. All right, let's get a little background. Kate's rushing up, so I'm assuming you're going to tell us everything we need to know.
Yes, so as we mentioned last meeting, this was pretty much a cleanup item to help assessing and zoning deal with land division and land combinations here in the city. Pretty much this makes this as an administrative action where the zoning administrator would do this just like any department head, which is pretty common around the state. But it does allow the zoning administrator to take it to the planning commission for unusual items.
Very good. Anybody from the public have any questions on this item? This is your chance to go. I see none. Want to close it?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion and second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's closed. Very good. So now let's go ahead and we need to consider a motion to approve the land division ordinance amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the land division ordinance amendment.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council questions or discussion? Again, administrative cleanup, pretty straight ahead.
It really is.
Last meeting.
Very good. All right, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is approved. Thank you very much. Next, City Council will be asked to consider the following actions related to an amendment to the city's adopted sign ordinance. So again, we need to hold a public hearing on the proposed amendment.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the proposed amendment to the sign ordinance.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is open. Kate again or Brian again?
Well, thank you, Mayor. What we have here is a overhaul of the sign ordinance. This has two main goals here. One, to make it content neutral in accordance with constitutional opinion, recent constitutional opinion, as well as make it more up to date for the central business district and the business zones. So we've had 3 meetings at the Planning Commission, kind of beat this up, and now it's before you for final approval.
Very good. This is the time where the public can jump up and ask questions. Anybody here like to ask a question about the sign ordinance? It's very exciting reading if you didn't get to read it.
I don't see any signs of any comments.
No one's waving their sign at us. All right. Let's close this
Got a
public
couple
hearing.
more meetings here.
What do we got?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's closed. Next, we will be asked to consider a motion to approve an amendment to the city's adopted sign ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the city's adopted sign ordinance.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Questions or comments?
I think a comment I would like to say, not only did the Planning Commission relook at that, staff put a lot of time into background material, whether it was photographs and examples, so a lot went into this in the background to help us out. I don't think it's necessarily the sign ordinance we had all hoped and dreamed for, because our hands have been tied with what can and can't happen from a content perspective. And that's actually was the goal, was to get this where it needs to be. So staff put a lot of time into it. So there were a lot of questions, well, can we do this, can we do that? And it was always, well, this is what we are allowed to do within the new framework presented from the Supreme Court. So I think they did an awesome job, so.
Anybody else? Yeah, I would agree. I'll just echo, it's very complex. I mean, I never realized until you read through that thing, and it's remarkable what's in that ordinance. So much appreciated the work that was done. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the city's adopted sign ordinance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is approved.
Mr. Mayor?
Next. Yes, sir.
As you move into new business, item 10, we do have a special event, 2019-28. We just caught an error. It's February 29th, not the 28th.
Okay.
The date of the event is a Saturday.
Gotcha.
And that would be 2020, because I think we couldn't do it in 2021. That's okay.
Yes. Yeah. Took a sec.
Okay, so city council. will be
I
asked
only get to tell that
consider-
joke every 4 years.
Ba-dum-bum. We'll be asked to consider approval of special event 2019-28 Island Sit 2020 to be held on February the 29th, 2020 from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. at the Phoenix Street Traffic Island.
Make a motion to approve special event 2019-28 to be, for the Island Sit to be held on February 29th of 2020.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any special updates, Brian, on this one?
This is an
Same.
annual event, working with the local We Care. It's a major fundraiser for the organization, and staff's reviewed it, police, fire have reviewed it. We Care is very conscious of the fact that they do have people standing near open lanes of traffic, and they're very safety conscious. So as a result, no concerns.
And it's usually the coldest day of the year, pretty much
Oh, yeah.
guaranteed. So
Yeah.
look forward to that.
That's only if I'm participating.
If you're on the bridge, yeah, exactly, right, whatever.
It's
So,
way better than the bread.
all right, we had the motion, the second. Is there any public questions, comments on this one? Got none. Council comments? It's a very quiet group. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve special event 2019-28. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Next, City Council will be asked to consider a motion to introduce an amendment to Chapter 6 of the City Code on the keeping of animals. And this is just a motion to introduce.
So I'll make a motion to introduce an amendment to Chapter 6 of the City Code on keeping of animals.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll take
Kate
it.
was going to go, Brian. All right,
Yeah, she's done all the work tonight.
go ahead. Just, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So-
you, Mayor. Again, this is kind of a cleanup item, but this went to the Planning Commission even though this was a regulatory code item. Basically, it's the keeping of animals, and we've gotten a couple requests for chickens and goats and other items, or barnyard animals, which typically people don't have in cities, but it's becoming more popular. Our code, the ordinance in our code allowed for the city council to approve it, but that's kind of an onerous process, plus it relied on the health department to weigh in. We haven't had too much luck getting that kind of weigh in from the health department, so we looked at revising our code in accordance with other municipalities around the state. So what we've got for you, in front of you, is clarifying which animals and how much and where they can be kept. It pretty much omits dogs and cats and fish and all the things like that are your typical animals, but going to non-traditional animals. So that's what's before you tonight.
Just to echo Kate's statement, we did take this to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission went through an active review and ultimately recommended the ordinance as it's presented.
Yeah, it's pretty straight ahead.
Yep.
Very good. Any public questions or comments on this one? Council questions? Any animals you want to harbor we need to know about? Nothing? All right, we have a motion and a second to introduce the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It will be introduced. All right, more good stuff. So we're gonna, right now, we're gonna review the 2019 year-end summary report. So Brian's got, I think he's got it brought up. So every year, the council, we look at priorities, we get input from the community, and we do our best to get at as many priorities as we can. We don't always get them in a certain order, and sometimes things happen that maybe divert our attention, like water goes up in the pond out there or whatever. But if you kind of look at the progress that's made, it's impressive, and I think it's hats off to city staff for kind of keeping us channeled in the right direction, and really hats off to this council for, you don't see a lot of partisan bickering up here, just a lot of people working to get things taken care of for the community. So hats off to everybody, and I'll let Brian show off what we've been working on.
Okay. So as the file is presented up onto the screen, we're going to walk you through a series of slides that track with the adopted fiscal year priorities. So each year, the City Council meets, and prior to establishing the budget document, the first thing they do is they talk about what do they want to see happen over the next 12 months. And then we make every effort to spend our time working to advance on those goals, and then also to customize our budget so that we can, to the best of our ability as a community, accomplish those goals. So starting with priority number 1, development of missing middle and workforce housing options. So major progress occurred here. I would point to 335 Center. The mayor helped cut the ribbon on that project just a couple of weeks ago. There's 18 one- and two-bedroom market-rate apartments at that development. 512, 514, 516 Phoenix Street, the former McDonald's Drugs. The first floor commercial, as we've talked about with one of our new breweries. And then second floor market rate apartments consisting of one two-bedroom and six one-bedroom units are in the process of being developed. 253 Center, the former Hales building, the first floor is commercial. The second and third floors are being redeveloped into market rate apartments consisting of 10 one-bedroom and two-bedroom units, providing workforce housing options. So major projects occurring in your downtown over the last 12 months. Continuing on to development of missing middle, we've hosted a couple of joint meetings with South Haven City Council, South Haven Housing Commission, South Haven Charter Township. We will continue working with them, and Housing Next, Director Ryan Kilpatrick has presented the city's affordable housing review sessions, both in September and November. And later this week, Ryan will be in town meeting with some local property owners, trying to help them figure out how to turn property into housing. Discussions are currently underway regarding the city's affordable housing needs and developing strategies for attracting new housing options. And then most importantly, the city's property at the former Overton site at 229 Elkenberg. We continue to advance on plans that we'll be presenting to the council, the Housing Commission, and the public, trying to figure out, number 1, are the plans acceptable? Number 2, is the budget acceptable? And then from there, we move into the actual financing of a project. So major work going on at the Overton site. Continuing for economic development efforts, we have weekly Friday site visits to local industry and local commercial operations. That's something that the mayor has made very much a hallmark of his administration, is every single week he wants to be out talking with local businesses. Most of the time they're very positive. Some of the times they get a little spicy, but they're always good conversations. Invitations to industry leaders to give updates at city council meetings is something that we've been continuing to do, and tonight was a good example. The LDFA, the Local Development Finance Authority, has funded an economic development video, which can be found on the city's website. We've been working with Jim Hettinger as our economic development consultant. Jim is working right now to finalize this strategic plan. One of the things we'll close tonight's meeting with is an update on where that plan is and when it will be presented to this council. And then one last thing is we've engaged the Uptown Foundation based in Kalamazoo for the next 3 years. They will be giving us periodic health checks on what is going right in the city, what's going wrong, specifically tracking new construction, tracking our total population, tracking our total enrollment at the school, tracking our total enrollment at the hospital, trying to give real-world data back to the council on what we're doing right as a community and where we're struggling. Under the commercial rehab district, this is something that's been brand new, but has been very, very interesting and successful. The council has enacted Public Act 210, creating a commercial rehab district. What this does, put simply, generally you're looking at about 25 cents on the dollar that we are able to abate for the development of new commercial within the district and new housing options within the district. So that's up to a 10-year abatement, approved properties and investment amounts. 335 Center, $3.6 million was the initial budget. It's probably going to be higher by the time they're done. 315 through 317 Broadway is $150,000. That's the Rock and Road shop. 253 Center, $2.7 million. 512, 514, 516 Phoenix. This is the former McDonald's Drugs. Right now, hovering at about 1.1 to 1.2 million. And then 237 Broadway, the former Save-A-Lot, 950,000. So those are all just in the last year. Major projects underway. And as we talk about the commercial rehab district, this morning, I started my day meeting with South Haven Charter Township Supervisor, Mr. Ross Stein. And Ross's big push was, what can he do to partner with the city to extend those commercial rehab district advantages to struggling portions in the township? So as we look out to 2020, I can guarantee you, we're going to be talking about a 425 agreement and essentially a short-term annexation, pulling properties into the city, extending these tools out into the townships to try and encourage development along M140 and other areas in the township. The commercial rehab district, and this is not being anything but completely candid, you're batting 1,000. We have had projects come forward, we have pushed those projects through, and the projects are now underway. That is incredible, and it's working. Continuing, Maritime District maintenance and improvements. You wouldn't know it based on last week's surge, but major work occurring at the marinas. And Northside Marina repaired the retaining wall, new sheds, step replacement, pavilion, paint, lighting, new floating dinghy docks, and on. You can see here, I just read through that list. The Maritime Museum, again, major improvements, just cleaning up those areas to make them just as visually appealing to our boaters as possible, to try and keep those boaters there. You want those boaters there because that seasonal revenue helps drive the marina operations. Oftentimes I'll have people ask me, what is the benefit of being in the marina business? Put simply, the marina business brings people to town. The marina business, I can point to 3 of our local large businesses that what brought them to town was our marinas. What kept them in town was redeveloping existing buildings and becoming job creators. But further, the marina businesses have a payment in lieu of tax every year that we're in operation at the marinas is money flowing back into the general fund. It's helping to pay for parks, police, fire, etc. And I'm just going to start moving a little faster here. You can see continued upgrades at our marinas. Major upgrades at Black River Park between landscaping as well as just the overall cleanup of the restrooms, the addition of a new fish cleaning station, new offices, etc. Community rec field improvements. We've started the planning process of working with South Haven Public Schools. And we hope in 2020 to have a whole lot more information coming on how to put together the financing on this. The Shara is less than 10 years old, and the Shara is an incredibly strong batting record. So South Haven Area Recreation Authority continues to do good quality work. The 14th Avenue site has been acquired. $300,000 grant from the state of Michigan helped to purchase the land. It was $375,000. The 14th Avenue site now has a grant application pending to create overflow fields so that AYSO, JYL, as those youth sports are fighting for space, we're intent on creating some overflow space so that when you, like me, have an 8-year-old who's waiting 90 minutes to get into a batting cage, you've now got some other options. This is a really positive thing. Central Business District, we've really covered everything going on in the downtown as far as redevelopment. We continue to do major improvements. Huron Street Electrical, the very last section of overhead line was buried out to Center Street. The CBD, the Central Business District, we continue to do flower plantings, street sweeping, sidewalk cleaning, tree trimming, sidewalk and curb repairs. The Art on the Town Committee has organized 2 sculptures, and we hope to have more coming to the downtown. but here's what we're really doing. Center Street is kind of the last piece of the puzzle. So Phoenix Street, William Street are now done. Center Street is currently underway. We are tracking to have this thing done in early 2020. And our contractor is meeting every single week with the public, with the project stakeholders, and it's really positive. They are largely done with the underground work on the first phase of the project, and we hope there's a growing potential that we'll have pavement down yet this year for that first phase. So major projects occurring in the Central Business District. This is one of my favorites. Community Foundation's here tonight. One of the main drivers of the Community Foundation for years is a gentleman named Glenn Petenball. And Glenn passed away this year, and this is one of the things that has been done through the Community Foundation, through his family, and working with the Center for the Arts. This sculpture has been placed at the corner of Center and Phoenix, directly in front of Chemical Bank. If you knew Glenn, you knew for years Glenn sat on the board helping to drive that bank. So really nice sculpture. And this is the first sculpture that was placed just outside of Taste, and we hope to have more coming. So on Proposal 1, this is one of the adopted fiscal year priorities, and I think we've solved this one. Proposal 1 ties back to both medical and recreational marijuana. The council hosted a variety of discussions. The council opted out. Ultimately, the council has allowed one provision under medical marijuana, that being the testing allowance. Everything else has been paused as we went through a voter-initiated ballot proposal, and the ballot proposal was successful, so recreational marijuana, any form of the zoning allowances has been decided by the voters. So, mission accomplished. Under public roads and just general infrastructure upgrades, paving of M43, we partnered up with MDOT to get that done. 76th Street electrical to the tune of $680,000 is done. Core City Phase 4 to the tune of $1.3 million is done. Road diet on Broadway is done, and then the Industrial Park Detention Basin cleaning is done.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
I think it's kind of helpful. Do you mind? That electrical number, I think that's helpful to sort of, I don't think people really understand what it takes to maintain an electric infrastructure. I mean, just so people are aware that that's,
Give or take between 13 and 14 million bucks a year. By the time you buy the power, by the time you do the maintenance on the system, and you still have the potential for outages, but the outage last week, that occurred outside of the city. It was on a transmission line. There was nothing we can do, but we had constant communication between our folks and AEP, and once it was back, it was on within minutes.
Yep.
I'm just going to try and go quickly here just to close this out. The lift stations, we have 31 lift stations covering, give or take, about 10 square miles. All of those have been upgraded to have better communication technology, so in the event of backups, we can move quicker to fix them. Blueberry Tank is done. That was just about $600,000 to remove lead paint and rehab the surface. Dykeman Bridge, $120,000 in just inspection work required by the state of Michigan. And then a small resurfacing job on Kalamazoo Street to the tune of $56,000. Lakeview Cemetery, we continue to make improvements there. And we have taken down an old building. We've upgraded the walls. We're continuing to pour money into that site. The 8th Street access to Public Works, to Do It Corporation, to Alvan and others is now done. That was a partnership between us, MDOT, and the County Road Commission. Pearl Street, as part of the streets resurfacing job for this year, is done to the tune of $430,000, and then AT&T lease agreement is nearly complete. That'll be the first move-in of 5G within South Haven area. Kids Corner, the first round of improvements is now done. I can attest my 3 kids have all played on these structures. They're neat, they're fun, and the beauty of this is they are completely ADA accessible. A couple of years ago, DPW director and I, Bill, met with a local woman whose child was bound to a wheelchair. And every day that we're working on Kids Corner, we kind of jump back to that conversation, just making sure that everything we're doing is available to anyone and everyone. Pilgrim Haven is part of the South Haven Area Rec Authority. Phase 2 of improvements, new restrooms, new paved parking lot, additional kayak racks, you name it. We continue to pour improvements into the rec authority. And that's an aerial of what that site looks like. And just a quick use of my laser. All of this wooded area, we'll find out in 2 weeks. 47 acres of forested area was likely to be awarded to the rec authority. We have a $2.5 million land acquisition grant that is pending, and the state of Michigan will make their announcements in a couple of weeks, but this will be the next major addition to the local parks system. Newcomb Beach, we continue to improve those stairs, making sure that people on the city's north side have easy access to the lake as they do on the south side. Bear Park, took only about 15 years, but we got the deal done. So this was long time viewed as a city park. It was tied to South Haven Public Schools, and through a whole lot of negotiation with Central Lofts, the developer, with the Homeowners Association, we were able to get the deal done. And just a couple of weeks ago, we cut the ribbon on restoring that to the public. Trail Towns, City of South Haven, through an application by the CVB, was awarded one of the very first Trail Towns designations by the state of Michigan and the Pure Michigan program. And we celebrated by having folks ride all the way from South Haven to the other side of the state for the kickoff of the Route 1 275-mile bicycle ride. Splash Pad. We have broken ground on the Splash Pad site, and we hope by Memorial Day of 2020 we will have kids playing in it. The fish cleaning station, as mentioned, Black River Park, major upgrade to the fish cleaning station with the help of the Great Lakes Fishery Trust, $150,000 grant, and then the rest coming from the marina operations. Customer service, this week we'll be hosting we've continued our partnerships with the Housing Commission, with South Haven Public Schools, with South Haven Area Senior Services. We continue working on the implementation of the short-term rental ordinance. We have now conducted literally hundreds of on-site inspections of short-term rental houses. And then every week, we continue to try and communicate to the very best of our ability. Every single Friday, there's a manager's report. That report is then shared with the council, with staff, with community stakeholders. It's posted onto the city's website. There are weekly radio announcements about things going on in the city. We do every single week website and Facebook posts. We do our newsletter, our email listservs, and press releases by the dozens. So if you feel like you're not getting information, tell us what we can do differently, because we're all about it. We've even upgraded the temperature boards outside of the water filtration plant. Okay, this is pretty neat stuff. So talking about professional development and board training, the Michigan Crisis Intervention System worked with South Haven Police Department and South Haven Area Emergency Services, along with Ganges Fire Department. They faced an array of behavioral health crisis situations and just challenged our first responders' ability to understand what to expect, specifically mental health focus, trying to help people who wear badges do a better job of responding in the event someone is faced with mental health issues. We've also hosted active shooter training at this building, at Shays, and even the Housing Commission has taken part. Internet safety, our police have hosted that. Disability Network of Southwest Michigan has been in all of the city's buildings, teaching our staff on how to understand the American with Disabilities Act, those rules better, how to better engage people with disabilities. And then they have also gone out and toured a variety of public spaces, trying to ensure that we are absolutely rock solid on our compliance with the ADA. Human Resources will be hosting a management retreat this Friday, just focusing on our management team, better understanding of good quality customer service. And then the IT department signs regular emails and trainings to all of our city staff. This is all new stuff, but it's been really well received. Police department continue. They do their annual free ice skating, hot cocoa, and then working with the scouts as part of the public outreach process. Bobby Walker presentation to our team. We have handed out awards for life savings. This is just one of the more recent ones, Officer Rummer, Officer Keniszewski. Kevin Van Brussel, or Officer Kevin Van Brussel, receiving one of those life-saving awards. Everything we can do to share with our team and with the public what the police and Shays are out there doing to try and help the people. So this is just from, I think, a week ago, Sergeant DeBoer was here receiving a life-saving award. Officer Melendez, sworn in front of council, newest member of the police department. And then Shays continues to do their outreach. 25-year agreement has been extended to Shays. They're going to be around for at least a couple of more decades. They continue to host their annual fun night. The sesquicentennial was an absolute hit. City staff, city volunteers, and just countless members of the community came out and celebrated. Here's a quick image. It was a little cold that day, but it was still a great picnic. There's the mayor along with some important folks. So we have Senator Nesbitt, Representative Griffin, and then this gentleman, I cannot remember, he's with Michigan History. So I went as fast as I could, but that is 2019 in a nutshell. So a lot to cover. I know I missed something, but all of this information is on the city's website.
You got 4 more weeks to get it done if you missed it. It's all right, no problem. That's awesome. It's very good. All right. Thank you for that. We are now at the time when citizens in the audience will be heard on items not on the agenda. So if you would like to come on up, just state your name and address, and you will have up to 5 minutes to state your concerns. Come on up, Ron. You can come on up.
Not a concern, really. Just a note in passing to honor the passing and note the passing of our former mayor, Jay Glenn Sperry, and all his wonderful work in this city back in the mid-'60s and to build low-income housing and lead this city for 2 terms. So he passed away a couple weeks ago, and we should note that in the records of the city.
So noted. Thank you for doing that. He was a good man. Anybody else? Gail, come on up.
Gail Patterson Gladney, Van Buren County Commissioner, District 1, and I'm just amazed what you all are doing in the city. Keep up the good work. That's great. Okay, I just have a couple items. The millage request. Commissioners approved placing 3 millage requests on the March 10th, 2020 ballot. A road commission renewal request is the first one, and that's for 0.9769 mils. It had been previously approved by the electors and expires in 2019. So this is a renewal. The revenue will be used to fund maintenance, repair, and reconstruction of public roads for a 4-year period. And then the second one is also a renewal. It's a public transit millage renewal, and it's for 0.2471 mils. And it had been previously approved by the voters, but it expires this year too. So this request is also for a 4-year renewal, expiring in 2023. The third one is a Veteran Services millage proposal request for electors to approve a 0.10 mil. This would fund approximately $340,000 to provide services dedicated to the honorable discharge veterans in Van Buren County. And it's a new millage. The request is for 4 years, 2020 to 2023. The second item I'd like to mention is the Domestic Violence Coalition Services contract, and that was approved for $25,000 by the county. And it provides services for county residents, which include initial personal protection order filings, crisis intervention, supportive counseling, and many additional support services programs. So I did pass out, the mayor said I could pass this out, domestic and sexual, let's see here, domestic and sexual assault services, and that's, the Domestic Violence Coalition is going to have a free confidential service program every week, every Wednesday at Covert Police Department. And so that's for all county residents. So in case residents aren't able to get to Paw Paw, they could go to the Covert Police Department from 1 to 4 every Wednesday, or by appointment beginning January 8th, 2020. And walk-ins are welcome, and they can also call 269-655-9008. And there's an advocate there who speaks Spanish if someone needs it. So do you have any questions?
I got a question. I guess I wondered on the millages. So they expire in 2019?
The first two that I mentioned.
Okay. And we're putting them on the ballot in March.
March 10.
What happens with January, February, and March then? Do they miss those dollars for tax? Or should those millages have been on like the November election?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer for sure.
That's maybe
on
something you want to
that.
bring up with our administrator.
Yes,
To keep us on, keep the board on track, because, as we're blessed as an administrative board to work so closely with our team, to know that maybe, we're missing a couple months worth of revenue. I don't know how that's going to work, but I would hope that we would have had those on the ballot
Yeah.
sooner.
Well, I don't know, and I'll try to find that out for
Okay.
you, and I can let Brian know. But for some reason, I think we're going to hopefully get that money. I
Okay.
don't know
That's just a
for
question.
sure.
Thank you.
So, okay, but I'll get back with you on that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else? Oh, Alan, come on up.
Alan Silverman, 144 Dunkley. I'm glad that I was here for that annual review. It was extraordinary. I think we have an amazing city manager, staff, and supporting council. And without the cooperation of all of you, it would not happen. Next time when you have an annual review, I think you ought to require every resident of the city of South Haven to attend, because most think this just happens by itself.
Yes, that's very
The
true.
only thing I've ever seen happen by itself is failure. Obviously, this city is far from that. I mean, you guys do a fabulous job. On a personal note, this past Thanksgiving weekend, we had substantial storm surge. Several months ago, you authorized temporary pumps to be placed to service the Dunkley Avenue area. And Bill Hunter and his crew have done a fabulous job with limited resources. We're all looking ahead, not knowing what 2020 will bring. If it brings more of the same, I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and do the more serious, more expensive type of repair in order to keep areas from flooding. To give you an idea, I have pictures from November of 1986. That was the previous high water mark in terms of flooding. Okay? This exceeded November 1986. So we had water filling all of our carports. The building that used to be known as Piles Bait Shop was completely flooded. The new garage buildings that we built across the street, and we have 15 garage units, were all flooded as well. And the floodwaters remain. You cannot get across the street without driving, and I've traded in my 16-inch boots for hip boots. So we'd appreciate you keeping an open mind, realizing we may have to bite the bullet and go through those expensive repairs.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments and for that information. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. DPW Director's Report. Speaking of high winds and water, and doesn't keep you up at night, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thanks for that introduction. I appreciate it. Your Honor, City Council, here's an update from DPW over projects happening. Splash pad, they started removals. One update to this is we tried to save a few of the trees, those pines, discovery actually upon removals is there's asphalt underneath those pines.
Wow.
So for safety reasons, we're going to remove those pines because there's really not a root system
Yeah.
keeping them in place. So unfortunately, we didn't discover that, of course, until we starting to do that. So, but that's continuing. Center Street, we got a Center Street project going on. We're going to start actually doing some grade work on Phase 1. That's where they start just adjusting the grade, putting some gravel in, and getting it ready to install a road. So we're getting close. I am not going to make any guarantees when concrete's going down, but hopefully very soon if the weather cooperates. Phase 2 is we're going to continue actually with the domestic water services and the fire suppression systems, and hopefully we'll get that work completed this week. Tailgate talks are changed. They're moving them from Thursday to Wednesday at 10 a.m. Still going to be at the stuffed pretzel, gourmet stuffed pretzel place, but they did change. So hope everybody is aware of that. South Beach outfall, like I said before, we're going to not do that until actually the spring of next year. Dumpster enclosure, everything is complete outside of the fence, and that'll be done in the spring. And we're expecting a proposal back soon from GMB for security improvements at the DPW, plus a feasibility study. Water and sewer, again, HydroCorp, cross-connection inspections. This is something that actually will continue on as we have a water system. It's always going to be there, so we're always going to be doing this. The material inventory is just about complete. We'll be wrapping that up and sending that out to DEQ, and we'll meet actually that January 1, 2020 deadline. Lead and copper samples were completed for the Shawsa area, and now we're doing a second round for Covert. So one thing I would like to update City Council, I was brought to my attention, actually, there was something on social media about the concrete standpipe and the condition of it. People, I guess, took pictures of it. Yes, it doesn't look pretty. No, it doesn't, but it was just recently inspected 2 months ago. According to their recommendation, yes, there are things we need to do. We need to put money into it. However, Shawsa's 7-year plan is to eliminate that, and we're starting that next year. The first step of that will be putting in an altitude valve at the Blueberry tank, and then progressively more projects to eliminate that and put an elevated storage tank at the DPW site, which will give us more capacity and actually allow to where we're using elevation instead of pumps to charge this system. So it'll be a much more improved system, and we'll have, believe it or not, those steel elevated tanks, if they're done correctly, if they're maintained, last longer than concrete. Concrete it's doomed to failure once it's put in. Eventually, concrete, just like all those cracks you've seen, I invite anybody to take a look at it. That shows you why it needs to be replaced. So it's not a lack of doing maintenance, it's we're ahead of it, and that's what we're doing. But we did get an inspection just in case, and that's what we did. And the inspector told us, the first thing he said is, "You're replacing this, right?" And I said, "Yes."
Yes.
So he goes, "Good." So I just wanted to let City Council know. And then staff is still, like I said, we're working on the budget. It's something, as soon as we're completing it, we're working on the next year's submittal. So does City Council have any questions on any of the projects or anything DPW related?
I've got a couple.
Yeah.
And I do want to thank you. I know the Facebook experts were out there assisting us, but at least we can tell them it may not look pretty, but it's functioning, it's safe, it's part of a plan to get rid of this. So hopefully they can help them with their engineering degrees. The sidewalk along the or the Riverfront Park next to the wall, where do we stand on that from some kind of solution standpoint? That's the one that just about looks like the river is there now.
Yeah, we did get a cost actually from Compton's. We got a couple of costs. Compton's came in low, and they'll be doing that work. Time frame wise, I wanted to get them in there quicker than, but it's been the weather. But
Mother Nature right
Our
now.
plan is still to do it. What we plan on doing is the water table, if anybody's been there, I don't invite people to go, but if you are in the perimeter to look, you can see the water coming in. That's a problem all the way around, all the way along that. So what we're doing is we're gonna do a method where we're gonna be using larger stones and then smaller stones and kind of build it up, put a geotextile fabric over top of it and pour. That'll allow that water to scoot back and forth underneath there and plus still maintain a stable, and that'll have to be our fix. This is going to happen. We already have another spot that we're already going to be repairing. It's just west of that.
Okay.
We already found one, and we're going to be, and I already told the engineering department to get another price on that as well. So they'll see actually 2 holes. And I anticipate if this water maintains and you have that coming and sliding underneath there, because every time it does without the stone there, it's actually drawing fines and sands and drawing it back into the lake. And that's what it keeps doing, and that's what ends up having the cavities and it drops.
Cavity. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
That was it.
Nothing? No. And my hat's off. I know it was no fun with the power outage, but, and it wasn't it was downline, correct? So
It was a cross member, and it broke both of our feeds. So it was one feed before the split to our 2 feeds to the substations. And we were in constant contact, as Brian said, with AEP, and they were very good giving an update, but you got to think, they've got a large crew, but they've got miles and miles and miles of lines that they have to trace back, so. But I think they did a good job, and I was just really hoping it didn't go more than a day, because there's a lot of people with their refrigerators, I'm sure, shut, just hoping it didn't last longer than the day, because
open it
a
up,
lot of
yeah.
Thanksgiving dinners, I think.
So what you're saying is we've got the dual redundancy of 2 lines, but what failed was prior to the why.
Yes, it was. It was
You
prior
know,
to.
so we have to look at it from that perspective. This was, of course, this power's coming from many, many miles away,
Yeah,
come up this
Indiana.
direction. Okay.
And they're doing upgrades to theirs. We just had, with the BPU.
Well, we were not the only community out,
No, we're not. No, it was a lot of communities out.
all from that one supplier.
Yes.
Okay.
Parts of the whole southern portion of Michigan, southwest, and then a large part of Indiana. I would say it would be over to the east, southeast. And I think it went all along the strip of Indiana as well. So it was a
And
large area.
People have to realize different communities south of us, some are fed from that system and some are fed from a different system. So I think what they didn't realize is if you're getting fed from that one, you know, like New Buffalo had a problem and St. Joe didn't. And you know, you can kind of go up, Covert did and we did, you know, and then another community didn't. And it just had to be, you know, who you're getting supplied from. So, you know, if they've got a way to split that dual line off even sooner for us, that would be awesome, because you'd think with that redundancy, we're great. But when you figure how far away that failure happened,
And we had another feed that we could have used from Buffalo side, but actually they're doing some work, actually improving the line, so we couldn't do that, so unfortunately. But they're improving the system, and that's what we want them to do.
we want them to improve the system. We just got caught. Thank you. I think that the team did a great job, and you were just ready to tell us to turn the switch back on.
Yeah, and I know the businesses appreciated the phone calls on the updates too. I had several say, thank you very much for hanging out in City Hall and making phone calls, so that was very appreciated. They were able to plan their day. So, good work to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
City manager comments.
Okay, so we've got 5 things to run through. First of all, we had a brief discussion on millage renewals. And just so you all are aware of how seriously we take these things, on July 12th of 2019, I was emailing our finance director and our police chief and our clerk to prepare for the 2021 narcotics millage renewal. So we're a couple of years in advance of those millage renewals, but it's something that we're constantly looking at. So, yeah, I was just looking back at my notes, and it was back in the middle of July that I was booking time with the chief and with the finance director for Monday, January 6th, for an hour of planning for the 2021 millage renewal. So that's just food for thought. Number 2, we have approached the Van Buren County administrator about a disaster recommendation or disaster request to the state of Michigan, trying to help private property owners as well as local units of government with some of the costs associated with erosion and high lake levels. I don't know if it's got any legs, but Berrien County has just taken similar action, and then I think Marquette County, it's one of the communities up north, has done something similar. It would start with the County Board of Commissioners and then move to the state of Michigan. It's by no means a done deal, but it is something that we've formally requested. So that was item 2. Number 3, and this is important for the council as well as for the public. The last regular meeting of this council for 2019 will be on Monday, December 16th. The main focus of that meeting will pay the bills, approve minutes, and then we'll move into a joint session with the Local Development Finance Authority. Jim Hettinger will be here. He'll be wrapping up his portion of the Economic Development and Strategic Plan. He'll be presenting that to the full council, to the LDFA board, and we'll be asking for the board to receive the report, ask any questions, and then ultimately adopt the report. That will then lead the LDFA, the city, on how we pursue economic development over the coming years. I've got hard copies that I'll get into each of your hands, and then we'll have it up onto the city's website in the coming days. Number 4, just food for thought. I'm thrilled, over the moon. South Haven Public Schools and South Haven City Council, you've now taken final actions to approve the school resource officer contract. In the back, Officer Wildy is here, and he has been working with the schools over the last couple of months, preparing for tonight, which is that final step, final approval, and he is now officially the school resource officer for South Haven Public Schools. I couldn't be happier. I see Kevin engaged with all of the schools, but just, as a parent of 3 kids at South Haven Public Schools, I'm thrilled to have him there. As the manager for the city, I couldn't be happier with him, with the police chief. She has spent the last 2 years working with the prior superintendent and the current superintendent to get this deal done. And it's been with dogged determination, and quite frankly, even when she was out on medical leave, she was still fighting to get this contract done. So major kudos to Natalie for getting it done, and then hats off lastly to Kevin Schooley for making this a priority. Brand new superintendent, and within weeks of taking that job, he was in talking with the city about how to get this done. So that is just one more item, and this is just a for fun one. But last week I had knee surgery, so you can see me all limping. I've got a big brace hidden under my pants. But you talk about having a really, really solid team. When you go to school to be a lawyer, to ultimately become the assistant manager who runs economic development and marinas and everything else, I don't think at any point you ever thought you'd be getting a phone call saying, "Hey, Kate, can you give me a ride?" And just a big thanks to Kate. The day of our power outage, she was nothing but good humor about the fact that I couldn't drive, but my phone was ringing off the hook. So she came to my house, picked me up, brought me to work, and dealt with me whining about how much my leg hurt. But so thank you to Kate. And those are my comments, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'll answer any questions.
Well done. Okay. Council comments. Start on my left.
No comments.
I just want to say what an excellent recap of our priorities that we work on. And every year we work on priorities, and from the priorities we help create a budget and a plan. And that's how it's done every year. And to get a recap of everything that we've been working on is pretty awesome. And it goes in the file. We'll be able to see that online. Thank you so much for your kind words, Alan. According to Facebook, we don't do anything. Unfortunately, we have all these facts. So I'm sorry. It just is what it is. But mostly excellent, amazing work by the staff. That's all I can say. Thank you.
I was just going to echo what Scott said, or what Clark said, because when we're going through the year, it may not seem like much, but when you see it all gathered together in one spot, it's exhausting to think about it. And it's really the staff and everybody working together as a team to get it done. That's it.
I ditto what's been said just now. I'd like to add that economic development, affordable housing has been our two top priorities. And I would like to compliment Brian and the city for recognizing that we don't know everything up here. And they went and took a leadership role in hiring an outside consultant for economic development, Jim Hedinger, and Mr. Kilpatrick for affordable housing. And I think that has been a big, big help to us. As it pertains to affordable housing, the Overton property, it would be easy for the city just to put a sign up and sell it to a private investor. Instead, the city has decided to try to make sure we have what the community needs, which is affordable housing. And they've gone to great lengths to get input from the community and inform the community of what affordable housing is, how to accomplish it, and get input. At the same time, I can't compliment the residents enough for coming to those meetings. They're taking time out from their busy schedule to come to these meetings and give their input. And while not everybody agrees on every detail and everything that we're going to try to do with the Overton property, I think when it's all said and done, it's going to definitely help the community, and it will be driven largely by the community. The last thing, I'd like to compliment Brian for his leadership. I will be missing the 16th. My wife and I always go on vacation that week. But he has helped all of us sitting up here, guided us how to make some of these things happen. Same with Kate. Both of them been always available and always helping. And the last one is the city manager. I've had a lot of discussions with him on the side when I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the one thing that, above all else, what we want in a community is knowing that our politician, our mayor, cares about what's best for the community. And I've never spoken to him where I couldn't tell that, first and foremost, his decisions were based on what's best for the community. And that, we all know, is not always the case with politicians. So I just want to thank him. We're very lucky to have you. So it's been a pleasure these 2 years on City Council, but it's really nice seeing things happening up here. That's it.
Agreed. All right, very good. So, yes, all good stuff. Brian, staff, thank you. And just as a reminder, those priorities are not established by us closing the door and figuring out what we think is important. It's ideas generated by the community. So please feel free to be in touch with any of us. Come to these meetings, state your thoughts, state your ideas. That's what we're here for. Al and I will take your suggestion. We will start rounding up people and have them come in to listen to the priorities. We'll work on that. Appreciate that thought. Just as you're talking about some of the erosion and the damage, I mean, just kind of a public, just be safe, be smart out there. I mean, there's a lot of folks peering over bluffs and doing different things just to be smart. I mean, the lake is very unforgiving at times, so please be smart in and around that shoreline and around the water. And we had the holiday in the park this last Friday. It had the lighting of the tree. Thanks to the Visitors Bureau, Scott Reinert, the staff, everybody that came out. Looks great downtown. Takes a lot of effort to make that happen, so just get out, enjoy it, and shop downtown. Remember, Center Street's still open, so head down. On that note, seek a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.